If you're stuck at home with no equipment to train with, there's no need to panic. We can still make sure we get in a full body workout using just our body weight. Now in Dan John's groundbreaking book, Intervention, he lists the 5 fundamental human movements. That's push, things like bench press, overhead press; pull, things like pull-ups or bent over rows; hinge, things like kettlebell swings or deadlifts; and the squat, pretty self-explanatory, things like a barbell back squat or a goblet squat. And then the 5th one is loaded carries. Loaded carries are things like farmer walks or a sandbag carry, that kind of thing. So even though we have some pretty traditional exercises, be that dumbbell, barbell, kettlebell, whatever, that fall into each one of those 5 fundamental human movements, we can still make sure we hit all of those aspects using just our body weight. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. Alright, the first fundamental human movement, the push. Now, obviously we can do things like push-ups, but there are a few different other options that we have for this fundamental human movement. So the first one, kind of the most basic, would just be a push-up position plank, or even a plank from your forearms. These are both technically push exercises, as I'm pushing myself away from the floor. Now the next one, kind of next level up, I guess, from that plank would be your regular push-up. And from here, if regular push-ups from your toes are maybe a little bit difficult, we can actually use the wall to help us adjust. So I can go up against the wall and do my push-up like that. If I wanted to make it a little harder, I could have my feet elevated on something like a stool. And now there's just a little bit more weight down in my upper body there, so it's a little bit more difficult like that. Another option though would be a one-arm push-up or assisted one-arm push-up. So again, if you have something like a stool or even a basketball, something that you can kind of put your hand on, doing your push-ups from here is putting a lot more emphasis on that arm that's on the floor. So a few different options there. Feel free to play around with it and see what works for you. Okay, the pull. Not gonna lie, this is the most difficult one to do without any kind of equipment. Now if you have something, if you have a door frame pull-up bar, even a tree in your backyard, or maybe some stairs or something that you can hold on to and do pull-ups, or a dead hang, that's gonna be a really good option. But if you just have absolutely no equipment, there's still something we can do to work on those pulling muscles. The easiest thing to do is something called bat wings. So bat wings is where we're going to go like this, really try and pull those thumbs to our armpits and really engage all those pulling muscles in our back. Now we can just stand here and pull that back like that, but we can also add some resistance. So again, we can kind of go up to the wall, and from here I'm going to drive my elbows back, pulling my thumbs to my armpits. So driving my elbows back, pulling my thumbs to my armpits. And when you do that, you'll feel those back muscles working. Step up from there would be bat wings on the floor or even a bat wing plank. So again, I come here, and what I want to do is drive those elbows through the floor, pulling those thumbs to my armpits. So I can do repetitions where I come up, back down, or I can just stay in the top and hold it as a plank. So not a ton of options there, but if you're stuck in a bind, we want to make sure we're not, neglecting those back muscles, so those bat wings can really help you out with that. Next we have the hinge. So if we don't have a barbell for deadlifts, if we don't have a kettlebell for kettlebell swings, we still have some great options we can do with just our body weight. So the first one is going to be just a glute bridge from the floor. So I'm going to lie back. I'm going to have my palms facing up like that. I'm going to bring my hips forward and squeeze my butt at the top. So I can do these with both feet on the ground. Or if you want something a little more advanced, you can do the one-legged bridge. Just like that. We also have another great option that a lot of people overlook, and that's the broad jump. So a broad jump is a really great explosive hinge movement when you do it right. So all we gotta do here is hinge back. So my butt's gonna go back, I'm gonna explode, and jump forward. Now obviously be careful when you're jumping. We wanna make sure we're landing softly, we're not landing on anything, a slippery surface or anything like that. But throwing in broad jumps can be a really great thing to add to your training, especially if you're stuck at home with no equipment. So again, just hinge back, jump explosively, and get your hinge in that way. Squats, pretty self-explanatory there. We can start with just basic body weight squats. So coming down, elbows between our knees, getting as low as we can, and getting our squat in that way. The next level up from there would be a lunge, or all the different lunge variations. So we can do just regular lunges in place. You can do a walking lunge, so taking a step with every lunge. You can do reverse lunges, so you're coming back with each step. So quite a bit of variety there. And then the next one, kind of level above that, would be a pistol squat or an assisted pistol squat. So if you have a doorknob or something, a chair even to hold on to, you can do just a regular pistol squat. So you come down and back up just on that one leg. And if you don't need that assistance of a chair or a doorknob or whatever, awesome. But don't be afraid to use that if you do need it. Now, by definition, a loaded carry is basically moving under load. So how do you do that without load? Well, it's pretty tough. The easiest thing to do, and one of the best things you can do, honestly, if you have a backpack at home, load that backpack up with some books, some canned goods, whatever, throw it on and go for a run. So throw some weight in a bag, go for a walk with it, and that's going to be a great way to get your loaded carries in. Beyond that, the Turkish get-up can also be looked at as a form of a loaded carry. So when we're doing a Turkish get-up, we're really moving quite a bit during that movement. So even though we don't necessarily have a weight, if we're doing a naked get-up, so that's a Turkish get-up without weight, but still doing a lot of movement. So even though I don't have the weight, we can still kind of look at that as a loaded carry. If you, again, don't have a backpack, you can't go for a ruck for whatever reason, you can load the Turkish get-up with something as simple as a cup full of water or even a shoe, and just having to balance that object really adds a lot to the exercise. So if I'm doing my get-up and I've got this cup of water sitting on my hand, you would be surprised at how much work my body's doing to balance that up there. So again, obviously not the same as doing something like a heavy farmer walk, but if you're stuck at home with nothing else, it's a decent way to get your loaded carries in. Alright, so lots of different movement options. We can make sure we're not leaving any gaps in our training, making sure we're doing a push, a pull, a hinge, a squat, and a loaded carry movement, either every workout or spreading those out throughout the week, but making sure, again, we're not leaving any gaps in our training. So if you're used to doing kettlebell training or dumbbell, barbell training, transitioning to bodyweight is a little bit different. Where something like, if you're doing 5 sets of 5 with a barbell bench press, deadlift, back squat, and bench over row, moving to 5 sets of 5 push-ups, bodyweight squats, bat wings, and bridges isn't really going to be the same. So typically we're going to have to up the reps, up the volume quite a bit when we're doing bodyweight training. So that could be something, maybe instead of 5 sets of 5 in the bench press, maybe now you're doing 5 sets of 20, 5 sets of 25 in the push-up. For the bodyweight squats, if you can't do pistols, not really a fan of lunges, you want to just stick to the bodyweight squats, maybe you're doing sets of like 100. It's okay to really ramp up the volume quite a bit with that bodyweight stuff. You're not going to, necessarily get as brute strong as you would with a barbell. It's a different kind of workout, a different kind of strength. It's more that kind of work capacity style of training, but that's perfectly fine. And sometimes it's okay to switch things up. So you can stick with, sets and reps, set a certain rep and set goal for each exercise, or you can do something, like timed sets. So these could be things like, the 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, Tabata kind of protocol, or even doing like a 30 seconds, as many reps as you can, rest 30 seconds, move to the next exercise, which is a really great way of kind of hitting all those different movements. So for example, we can do 30 seconds of as many push-ups as we can, rest 30 seconds, then maybe we hold a bat wing plank for 30 seconds, rest 30 seconds, maybe we do 30 seconds of bridges, rest 30 seconds of squats, rest 30 seconds, and then maybe we do a get up with a shoe on our fist, and then rest another 30 seconds. And you can go through that for 4 or 5 rounds, whatever you're feeling. Feel free to mix it up though. Bodyweight training is going to be a little bit different than, barbell, machines, dumbbells, kettlebells, all those kind of things. So take this as an opportunity, have fun with it, play around and see where you go. Alright, so I hope this video helps. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm a bodyweight training expert, but I have been in the situation where I've had to train without any equipment before. So I've been there, I've done lots of bodyweight workouts and probably, weeks, months at a time of just bodyweight training in the past, and it can be really effective. And again, sometimes it's a welcome change, right? When we've done one style of training for a long time, for example, if you've done barbell work for 5 years, taking maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks off to do something a little bit different, like these bodyweight style movements, it can really help you out. When you get back to that barbell or back to the kettlebells or whatever, you might see your progress just really shoot through the roof. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, please don't hesitate to send me a message, post below. I'm always happy to help any way that I can. Thanks for watching.